Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is a little bit more of a touchy subject, I guess you could say, a more personal story. As you can see from the title of this video, today I'm going to tell you how I got clear skin and eliminated my bloating. I'm going to show you some pictures that I am really self-conscious about, but I'm going to show them to you anyways, so that you guys can see sort of where I started off at my worst point to where I am now. Basically, I've always struggled with acne. All through high school I had acne. My younger brother made fun of me all the time because I had pimples on my face, and no matter how many times I cleaned my face, no matter how many products I tried, no matter how many times I used Proactive, nothing helped. I grew up with food allergies as a young child into my years of teens, I guess we'll say. So I grew up with a milk allergy, and it wasn't severe enough to put me into anaphylactic shock, but I had the allergy until I was about 11. And then I had a severe peanut allergy, which I had an EpiPen for, and it would put me into anaphylactic shock. So I got rid of that allergy when I was 14. So ever since I've been 14, I haven't really had any allergies, but I find that my stomach still gets upset with lactose products. I'm not a big fan of like milk and cheese and all those things. Like I'll have it in foods, but I don't just like have a glass of milk. I don't just have like slices of cheese or a container of yogurt. It's just like not what I'm into. I don't like it because of my previous allergy, I guess. But the good products like chocolates and ice creams and all those unhealthy things for you that taste really good, I started really eating those once I grew out of my allergy. So I don't know if it was all of that that stemmed into bringing an intolerance back, or if I always still kind of maintained that intolerance going forward. But I started to find probably 2 to 3 years ago maybe, I would have like a bowl of cereal with a little bit of milk on it, not even enough to have any to pour down the drain or drink after, just enough to wet my cereal, and my stomach would hurt. So as soon as I had that bowl of cereal, within like 20 minutes my stomach would be upset. Don't need to tell you the details, but let's just say it was not always a fun situation, and that's like right in the beginning of the day, right in the morning. From there, I started getting really bad acne, like almost like cystic acne. I look at pictures of my skin compared to some other people that have cystic acne, and mine looks nothing like theirs in the sense of the severity. But for me, I was so self-conscious of my skin. I would wear as much makeup as I could to try and cover it up, but no matter how much you used, you could still see the redness, you could still see the bumps, and I hated the way that my skin looked. I remember for our 3-year anniversary with my boyfriend in April 2019, we went to Blue Mountain, Collingwood, Ontario. We rented an Airbnb, we stayed the weekend, we had a really good weekend, and I remember waking up the day that we were leaving with like 10 pimples on my face, and I was almost in tears. I was so upset, and of course he called me beautiful no matter what I look like, but I was so self-conscious of my skin, and I didn't like the way that I looked. I didn't want to see people. I just felt so down in the dumps because of the amount of acne on my face at one time. I started trying different facial cleansers with like the charcoal in it, the exfoliating beads, the deep cleansing. I tried everything and nothing would make it better. Nothing helped clear up my skin. I tried the tea tree oil on the pimples that were just starting to come in, didn't work. I tried drinking more water, didn't really help. Nothing was working. And I got to the point where I was so fed up with my skin that I went to my doctor and told him, listen, I should not have acne at this stage of my life. I'm turning 26 at this point, and I'm still breaking out like I'm a teenager going through puberty. So my doctor told me news that I was expecting to hear, but I didn't want to hear, because everything that I was eating and that I really enjoyed, I had to cut out. The 3 main things that I want to share with you guys today for helping my acne and reducing my bloat is diet. Second thing is hydration, making sure you're drinking enough water. And third thing is obviously cleansing your face. Everyone cleans their face. Everyone knows that they should clean their face if they don't do it. But again, I did that every day. I cleaned my face 2 to 3 times a day. Nothing was working for me. So I started drinking more water. And I never really used to be like a big water girl. Now I'm getting used to having just plain water without any Crystal Light or anything in it. I used to drink a lot of juice, so lots of sugar. As I started to up my water intake, I felt better and I was having less of a bloat, but I was still bloated and I still had acne all over my face. Biggest thing for me, which was the information that my doctor shared with me, that everything going on with my face was diet related. I always knew that if you had like a ton of junk food, a ton of McDonald's, a ton of ice cream, a ton of sugary things. That's obviously going to affect your body negatively, but I didn't expect it to the extent that he was explaining. Basically, in April of 2019, my doctor told me that the first thing was to reduce gluten intake. I can't tell you how upset I was deep down because bread is like one of my all-time favorite things in this world to eat. I was never really a white bread girl after my mom stopped buying it for us because I knew it was unhealthy, but I loved my bread. I loved going out getting garlic bread with pasta dinner. I loved having garlic bread at home. Every morning I might have like an egg McMuffin on an English muffin. Most days I had a sandwich on bread. So the amount of bread that I was consuming was actually so much higher than I really realized, just because that was one of my favorite things to eat. So gluten intake was the first thing. I had to reduce that as much as possible. So I decided to start following as much of a gluten-free diet as possible. The second thing my doctor told me was reducing my sugar intake. So he said natural sugar like fruits and vegetables, anything that had like a natural cane sugar, coconut sugar, palm sugar, anything like that was okay, but any added sweeteners, artificial sweeteners, refined sugars, glucose, fructose, sucrose, all of those compounds I needed to cut out. And I kid you not, I am such a big sweets girl. I really don't care for salty that much except for pretzels. So to cut out firstly bread, secondly sweets, was like the second worst piece of news. The third thing he said was cutting out like processed foods like sandwich meat, any sort of like processed packaged foods, and white pasta and white rice. And the one thing that I didn't know that he explained to me was that white pasta, white rice, and any sort of bread, when it's processed and made, it is packed with refined sugar. Did anybody else know that? Because I didn't know that that was like a real thing. Obviously I knew that whole grain was going to be better for you, but I didn't necessarily think that white pasta and white rice were going to be contributing to the crap on my face. All these good things I had to cut out of my diet: bread, sugars, white pasta, white rice. And then I left the doctor's office thinking my worst nightmare with regards to my food and my diet has just come true. So basically, by changing my diet, I have really helped clear up my skin. So the first thing that I did was purchase all gluten-free products with regards to any sort of breads that I potentially eat on occasion. Gluten-free pasta, so I have gluten-free linguine, spaghetti noodles, lasagna noodles, penne noodles, macaroni noodles, whatever kind of pasta that you can think of, they have it in gluten-free. So I found the section that always has the gluten-free pasta, and that's my go-to now. Gluten-free breads, I will admit, are usually pretty shit. They are really small. So you get a gluten-free piece of bread that's like, I kid you not, this big, and you want to make a sandwich. So let's say you're making a healthy sandwich, or you want egg salad sandwich or something on these gluten-free pieces of bread. You take 2 of them, you make your sandwich, you go to eat it, it breaks in half. It's crumbling all over your plate. You go to a restaurant, you get a burger, you get a gluten-free bun. About 3 bites in, your bun just starts to crumble and fall apart on your plate. You want to have gluten-free corn tortilla so that you can have fajitas and tacos using gluten-free products, and your corn tortilla rips in half. Everything from your taco, your fajita, just falls on your plate. Basically, the gluten-free breads and tortillas pretty much suck. I think there's one brand that I found that the hamburger bun actually stays together. The pastas are actually not as bad as I expected. With regards to the sweet side of things, I stopped going to Bulk Barn. I stopped getting candies when I was out. Dollar store, you get what you need. You grab a pack of Skittles. I stopped buying chocolate as much as I could. Obviously on occasions like Easter and holidays where you want a little snack, you get that stuff. I even changed my baking. So the only thing I would get at Bulk Barn going forward was typically a natural sugar so that I could still do baking that required some sort of sugar. So they have pure palm sugar, coconut sugar, which is a substitute for brown sugar, and there's another one, but I can't remember off the top of my head. The other thing is the gluten-free flour, almond flour, coconut flour, things like that you can substitute. The only challenge with that is sometimes you need less and sometimes you need more when you're baking. So when I first started doing my gluten-free baking, I really had to play around with it, make sure the consistency was right compared to when you just bake it normally with all the unhealthy things in it. But once I got used to it, now I find gluten-free tastes just as good as a regular chocolate chip cookie. The other thing I really started looking at was labels. So anytime I bought like protein bars, granola bars, anything that came in a package but wasn't necessarily like a pack of gummies or something like that, I really started to look at the sugar content and actually looking in the ingredients. So trying to reduce that glucose, fructose, sucrose, refined type sugars. And I really started to pay attention to the labels on food so that I'm making sure that, you know, I'm aware of what I'm consuming and making sure that it is a healthy option. So all of this helped clear up my skin. I still have the odd breakout every now and again because of hormones, or if I do decide to cheat and have a bowl of ice cream or something, I will typically get like the smaller pimples, but I kid you not, the difference in my skin now is outrageous. The type of acne I used to get, I'm gonna show you in the pictures in a minute, like I said, could not be covered up. You'd see it through makeup. Your makeup would wear off halfway through the day, a little bit, and you see everything. You can't hide it. Nothing that I tried worked to hide my acne, and I felt by caking on more makeup, it's just gonna make my skin worse. So I was kind of in a lose-lose situation, but by changing my diet and upping my water intake and continuing to wash my face, I really helped clear up my skin. So now I feel so much more confident in my skin. But the other thing was it helped me reduce my bloating tenfold. I remember as soon as I cut out eating bread, switched to my gluten-free diet, followed the rules of my diet that I needed to, I lost almost 10 pounds without even trying. So I didn't change my training, I wasn't tracking calories, I wasn't in a calorie deficit. All I did was change the type of food I was eating, and I lost 10 pounds. With that, I lost my bloat. So I remember I would go out for dinner with my best friend. We'd go to a restaurant that served basically all Italian food. So a lot of pastas, a lot of breads. We'd get our salad to start, and then we'd get a pasta dish, and it came with complimentary garlic bread. This was the best garlic bread ever, and I miss it so much. But I would leave the restaurant feeling sick to my stomach. I wouldn't stuff myself full, but by the time we got back to the car and we were driving home, my stomach would be in knots. I'd have to go to the bathroom. I would just not feel good for the rest of the night, and I'd have that bloat. I'd wake up in the morning and still feel kind of bloated. So although everything that I changed really helped my skin, it also helped me feel better physically. Without that bloat, I feel like I have more energy, I feel healthier, I feel more inclined to do longer workouts or better workouts. And when I feel healthier, it makes me want to continue. So it really did change things over the last year for me. Like I said, I feel 10 times more confident in my skin. I can go days without any cover up or any foundation on, and I feel fine. I don't feel like people are staring at my skin and looking at all of the red pimples on my face and all of the bumps on my face that my makeup can't cover. Even though it was a really hard transition for me, it worked. The biggest thing I suggest is if you're struggling with acne, whether you think it's hormonal, whether you think it's cystic, whether you think it's food intolerances, if you haven't talked to your doctor, talk to your doctor first and foremost. I'm not a doctor by any means, I'm just sharing my experience with you guys, but this is my story and this is what worked for me, so I wanted to share it with you guys as well. There's always healthy substitutions with regards to gluten-free, with regards to lactose-free, if you want to follow paleo or vegan type diet. I promise it's not easy at all. There's still days where I cheat, but there's always other options for you. You just have to do your research, and you really have to focus on the nutrition facts and the labels on your foods to make sure that you are aware of what you're consuming and how it's affecting your body. I hope this video was educational, helpful for some people, or maybe just something good to watch for you if you really haven't ever struggled with acne. It's always something that I want to be open about, and I enjoy sharing my journey. But again, it's not something that I take lightly. It's embarrassing. It makes me self-conscious to think back of what my skin looked like and how I grew up trying to cover it all up. But the journey's worth it. The changes are worth it. And I mean, if you get that extra benefit of losing some weight and losing your bloat from it as well, then why not try it? That's it for my video for today. I hope you guys like it. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications so that you don't miss out on the next video, and I will catch you guys on the next one.